They see me rolling, they hating.
Hey, what is up everyone? It's Rinku, and today we are going to achieve Master 2 trading. The method we're going to be using today is called rolling, because most of the time, you're going to roll. So, why would you want Master 2 trading? Well, the main reason why everyone wants Master 2 is because once you get there, you can go in the Valencian Desert and get a buff that increases the silver on every single trade that you make there, which is pretty significant. Now, the actual buff says you get an increase of 50% silver, but that's for the base item. You can basically say that after all the calculations are done, you'll get about 20% more silver. But 20% is still a huge number, especially when you're selling thousands and thousands of crates, and especially if you ever want to get into like optimizing your node empire, optimizing AFK processing, and making these expensive shit in thousands and thousands of bulk. In my opinion, I believe that trading, getting to Master 2, and then making shit to sell with the Master 2 buff is probably the most important life skill that you should care about if you want to get money. Now, if you get Master 2 from this guide, that does not mean you're going to make tons of money. It just means that you're going to have a number that allows you to get an increase in silver on the money that you would have already gotten. So please keep in mind, this is not a guide on how to make tons of money. This is just a guide on how to hit Master 2 trading, which is a very significant, important role into actually making this money. Once I get this, I can actually venture out on my node empire, on my crates, on my processing, maybe even throw a little fishing in there. Someday when I get Master 10, I could go do the sailing to Port Rat and get my sailing in there, but right now we're going to focus on getting Master 2 with the rolling method. Before we start rolling, there is a lot of optimization and setup to actually be done. Now, the 4 limiting factors are your storage space, your inventory space, your weight limit, and also life EXP bonuses. Starting with the life EXP, let's go over the life EXP buffs. You'll definitely want to have this first one I just used, Suit Tea. It gives life XP plus 8%. It is the standard food buff for life EXP. Next up we have the elixir for life XP, the elixir of time. This one is the elixir of flowing time. It's the blue one. Basically this one has 5% more than the green version, and you can only have one or the other. I went the extra mile and spent money on this because you actually make more money than you use using one of these every time you trade in stuff because of the amount that you get back from rolling. So either way, it works out. The other buffs that you can get are, there is a buff from villas that give you 10% life EXP. We will be going over that in a bit. Also, you can get scrolls for life XP, either from events or from loyalties. I believe they all give 10%, but I could be wrong. There's tons of scrolls in this game. There is also some impractical stuff you could use for your life XP, but I say impractical because you probably shouldn't be using it for this. Things like GM buffs or perfumes that I believe cost like mills and mills. I don't think you really need to buy tons of those or use all your GM blessings on this because this is just a few hours to raise Master 2. You should use those things in more practical situations, like turning in 10,000 crates in one time. Stuff like that will help you more than just using a one-time buff for 20 minutes right now while doing this rolling method. But you should probably have 3 or 4 of the things I mentioned in the beginning. And the villa buff is controversial because it takes time to go to the villa to get the buff and then come back, but it honestly does change up the gameplay of just rolling, so that's honestly why I do it. I'll show you guys where I go and how to get that. But that's pretty much it for the life EXP buffs. You can also optimize trading experience through your armor and your pets. Pets have random skills, so they can have all life EXP or actually trading in specific, and they can also stack. So whatever your pets have, that's good. I wouldn't say you should buy a pet specifically for this, so we're not even going to talk about pets, but anything helps, so if you have one, pop it out. And also the equipment. If you have anything enchanted, you probably want the silver embroidered one, because this is probably better than this, as long as it's at least +1, preferably +2, specifically because this also gives a weight limit and even movement speed, so why not? The weight limit does play a huge role though. Get this as high plus as you can. +2 is the standard for most life skills. +3 is like you really like that life skill and you plan to go far, but I feel like most people can bust out a +2 like it's nothing. And also, for pearls, or if you can manage to snipe a tailoring coupon off the marketplace, you can turn the professional trader's clothes into a pearl outfit to go over your other trader's clothes. So you can't turn the silver embroidered ones into it, but you can turn the professional trader's clothes, which gives you 10% flat, which stacks with this. So I have 2 trading equipment equipped. Also, like I said, weight limit is a factor, so having a good belt with weight limit will help. The Asula one actually gives 100, so go grind out that Asula belt. I wish I did a while ago. I was just lazy and never actually did that, but Asula belt would be better, and the Golden Manos belt, when it upgraded, would actually be better than all of that. That's actually like the true trader belt of the game, is the Manos belt that gives 100 weight every time you increase it. So that's a lot of carry weight. Now, I did spend pearls on this character because this was my main character for the past year plus, on weight on my character, so that is why my weight is actually bullshit high, but it is still possible to do this method without spending pearls. Just know that is why I have such a high carry weight and so many inventory slots. The rolling method also requires a lot of contribution points for storage in Valia and Haidle, as well as the nodes to connect everything together. So you'll need to connect Haidle to Valia, and these 2 places also have to be connected to Lynch Ranch as well as Toscani Farm. You'll also have to buy a house in Lynch Ranch and Toscani Farm, and you'll also have to have about 100 storage spaces in both of these storages, which I believe I spent about 50 contribution on storage alone, which gave me enough to do it. I also had to relocate every item in these storages because I used to have tons of junk in here, and I moved them across all the other storages in the game just so I could do this method. Because like I said, once these 40 hours of trading are done, I can put everything back and not have to worry about this ever again. I would recommend it, so that's how you set it up. So how much contribution do you need to do this method? Well, I already talked to you about the storage space and that you're going to need the nodes and the houses, and also for the houses you're going to need at least 1 storage container. If you have 2, it'll actually speed it up more, and each storage container are 10 contribution points, so that's 10 to 20 contribution points for storage. Then you need about 50 contribution points for storage space, which is divided about, you only need like 20 to 25 for Valia and Haidle each, so together it's 50, and then you'll need the contribution points to connect all the nodes. So all in all, you'll probably need about 100 contribution points total, but if you have them all connected like I do, and you already have the storage container, or maybe 2, then if you just need the storage spaces in these 2 storages, you can probably get by with just 50 contribution points. Now, you can even go less, and you may not need all of this at first because you only need the storage once you start hitting like the artisan levels, but the point of this is if you're going to power this in like 40 hours, you'll probably want to do it all at once and be prepared when you do start hitting those high levels to make as much EXP as you possibly can per hour, so you really don't feel like you're wasting your life. So I'm going to hope that you already know how to invest in a node and also buy a storage house to increase your storage for Valia and Haidle, but if you didn't know how to get the container in order to access your bank, basically you just need to go to the storage keeper, click rent container, and you can buy one for 10 contribution points. This means that once you buy a house for residence in the areas where we're going to be using this at, you can place this like you do furniture. However, it allows you to access your bank from this item in your own house. So the Valia and Haidle banks will be accessible in our residences that we buy. Really quick, I have another pro tip that I almost forgot to throw in there, and that is make sure you do not leave your horse near the storage keeper or the trader. In both Valia and Haidle, if you have your horse near those 2 NPCs, or I guess 4 total NPCs, while you're interacting with them throughout the route, they'll just slow you down. If it's near a trader, they will ask you if you want to put your trade items on the horse, and you'll have to click no first before you can actually get them in your inventory. And if you have the trade items and you're going to the storage keeper and your horse is near the storage keeper, well, you're even more fucked, because then you can't spam right click in your inventory and you have to manually click twice for every single item in your inventory. So just make sure that your horse is somewhere far away. When you're going between Valia and Haidle, either park them right outside the town or in the middle of the 2 NPCs. Even the trader can find your horse from really far away, from houses over. So the trader is really touchy. Make sure your horse is nowhere near him. The storage is a little bit more lenient, but if you get it right next to the storage, you're even more fucked. So they both have consequences. Just make sure you place your horse in a nice place. Alright, so now we're going to start the rolling route. There are going to be 4 stops, and you're going to repeat this over and over until you get Master 2. The first stop being Valia. So it all starts in Valia. Now, I'm just going to show you how to roll here, and if you're looking for how to figure out where the trade vendor is in these cities, you can always hit NPC and click Trade Manager, and it'll bring you right to this fancy dude right here. So the point of getting your inventory bigger is that way you can carry bigger loads. If you have a pretty decent size inventory, even I have too many slots, I don't actually need that much because your weight will also play a limit, but we're going to want to get every single item. So you won't be able to take all the items in one inventory load, and sometimes it might be better if you don't keep clicking everything. So I know that I cannot carry the whole stack of this, but I can carry at least all of this and some of these. If I were to click take them all, well, let's just do it. So if I click that, this will say 0, but I already know I can't hold them all, and look, there's 6 of wine over here. So it kinda messes up which ones you take. If you want to do it exactly, I would recommend doing the same thing, but instead of clicking the red one, I would buy everything first, then click the red, and then take all, and then the red would be the last one left. So that way when you come back and you try to fill your next inventory, you can start here and keep going down, and you'll be aware. So now that you have your inventory full with shit, we now have to roll, because if you just look, I can't really go anywhere without taking hours and hours to arrive. So now we roll. Alright, so to actually start rolling, it's kind of an interesting process. If you click Q, you crouch, and that's definitely not what you want to do. But if you hold forward, which is W, and then you hit Q, you will roll forward. Now, once you roll forward, if you just hold it, nothing happens. And to stand up again, like you just saw, I just hit Q again. So Q is to crouch and stand up. So to actually efficiently roll, you're going to want to hold forward, hit Q, let go, and let go of W every single time you stand up. So like, as I stand up, from holding Q, you want to hold forward. So as soon as you see that my legs are standing up, you want to click the W, and as soon as you see that you're rolling, you can let go of W. So once you get into it, it's mostly holding Q and messing with the W key. But just remember, if you're at a standstill and you try to hit both, but you hit Q first, then you're going to do this awkward thing where you crouch first. So the mechanics are interesting, but you know, once you get used to it, I mean, it is just literally 2 key presses and you alternate one or the other. But like you see, just there I tried to do it again. I tried to hit both and it registered Q first, so it slowed me down and I got confused. But if you hold W first and then go into it, you can get the whole pattern down. But that is the whole method. Now, you're going to want to do this all the way to the storage, and this is the same. We're going to do the same exact thing in Haidle. And eventually, if you get this rotation down, you will actually lose energy more than you can gain it. So you will get to the point where you go below 20. When you go below 20, I recommend just standing, or you could hold forward and just go the extra mile, even though it's barely any distance, until you get full energy again, and then you can keep on going. When you're this close to the storage, I mean, you can min-max, but either way, it's pretty easy to roll. And now, another pro tip would be definitely click auto range. I was doing this at first. If you don't click auto range, you have to click every single one. It's very tedious, but if you click auto range, you start with the top one, you keep right clicking, and you do this until every single trade item you have is in the bank. And there you go. So you can see my bank is 66 slots. I only have 4 other things. So that's 62 trade items in one roll. And I also do bring 1 mil. I think I said that earlier, but I bring 1 mil for every trip, which is every 4 stops. So when I return to Valia, I will have more than 1 mil from all the shit I turned in, and that will make me way more. So every time I return to Valia, I make my silver go back to 1 mil, so that way I'm not carrying around extra silver. And 1 mil is enough to buy, I believe, every single item in both Valia and Haidle. Now we are once again here. I just want to make it a point that if you have this fully optimized, you only want to roll twice, even if you can't get every item. And look, because I made the mistake of clicking this is sold out and I had to click the wine. But yeah, normally I just leave off where I click last, and then I take the rest of the items. Like for example, if I clicked all of these items the first time, I don't know what items would have been left over, because it buys the items in a weird order. But I'm going to try and buy all of these and just see what happens. So those are sold out, those are sold out. So I'm actually able to carry every single item in Velia right now. Now, if there was like 2 extra items there, if he only had 2 wood, I don't think it'd be worth coming back for the 2 wood. If you can only hold like 30 items at a time, you may make more trips than 2 times though. So it depends on how much you can carry at a time, will depend on how many trips you can manage, but if you're fully optimizing this with as many inventory slots as possible, you should only be making 2 trips. Now, I'm going to keep rolling. Once I make it to the Velia storage, we'll see how many items I'm up to. So you can see there, my bank has 95 slots taken. That means 91 of them are trade items. That means if you're trying to get the max XP around artisan levels, once you can buy every single item, you'll want 91 slots empty in Velia storage. And that means you can probably get by with only 45 inventory slots, which is actually pretty manageable. If you do 2 trips and take exactly half, it seems to work out. So my massive inventory doesn't actually help me as much as you'd think. It's mainly the storage space, which you can get with contribution. Alright, so we're going to be leaving Velia. Our next stop is Haidle, the second stop of the 4. Now, we still don't need buffs until after we leave Haidle, but for every single stop, you're definitely going to want to bring the fastest horse you can possibly find. So T8s definitely will help. That's what you're watching right now. Don't get fooled, my T8 is skinned to look like a T7, so the white is from a T7 because my T8 was actually brown. But yeah, anyways, going back to the trading though, once we get to Haidle, we're going to be doing the same exact thing in Haidle. We're going to roll from the trader to the storage keeper. We're going to make 2 trips, just the same. The only difference is that this is a little bit farther, so you're going to roll a little bit more, but the majority of the work will be done after we roll here as well. So I did the same thing where I bought everything. However, I knew that I could not carry all the medicine, so I clicked buy all, buy all, buy all, and then purchase all, and then I clicked medicine to buy all of them, and there is still 1 remaining, so I definitely could not carry all of them. And like I said earlier, if I would just take them all in 1 purchase all, that one would have been some random thing. So just to minimize your clicks, I'm just trying to help you guys save clicks, so when you come back, you know you can click medicine and then keep going down. Now, I have a full inventory again, 170 pounds, like look how slow I go. But through the rolling method, we'll get there pretty fast. Alright, now if we look at my storage, I do have 9 items that aren't trade items that were already there from workers, but that means 104 of the items in my bank are trade items, and I don't even have room for the very last item. I guess I've never been this optimized to carry this much shit, because I actually don't remember being able to carry all the items, but I guess now I can, and that means the total items in Haidle that you can possibly buy from the trader is 105. So having 105 slots in your Haidle city bank will allow you to get all the items. I'll just trash this one for now, maybe next time. I have 100k in my inventory. Like, I guess normally I have more silver, and that's why I couldn't carry it before, but just like that, we're done. Now is the time where you're gonna want life EXP bonuses going into the next area. So I guess if you want to start getting your villa buff, now would be the time. If you don't have the ticket, you'll want 5 of these. I already have one. So to get the buff every 3 hours, you're going to need 3 of these. So 3 of these every 3 hours. So 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to make the trip over there. I don't know if it's worth your time to do this or not, because you're going to be doing this for literally 10% increase, but it will spice things up if you've been rolling for hours. Sometimes every increase helps, but like it does take time out of your way to go there every 3 hours. So I'm not sure. I'm going to show you guys anyways where the closest life skill EXP bonus villa is, if that made any sense. Here is the map, by the way, to the villa. It's called Karashu's Villa, and it's the one right outside of Altanova, on your way to Sandgrain. So in the middle, it's pretty easy to get to, so I'm going to make that travel and meet you guys over there. Alright, so here we are. That took about 3 or 4 minutes to get here, and then we had to go all the way back, but I figured I might as well stack as much life XP as I can get. So let's go in this villa. I guess we should go this way. I already have the ticket, but you'd buy it from the people out there, and then the actual buff person is right here. Now, scroll down for the longer buffs. You definitely want the longer ones. These ones only last 3 hours though, and you only want the Wisdom of Life. So we're going to do that, and there we go, 10% life EXP. We'll stack the rest when we actually trade in stuff, but now we have the long trip back. Our next destination is the third destination. We're not even counting this as a destination. So first we went Valia, then Haidle. Now we have to turn in all the shit we got from there. So we're going to go to Lynch Ranch, and then we'll go to Toscani Farm. Now, once you have the villa buff, or if you don't want to do this, just discard it. So you're basically going in a circle over here over and over, and if you want to just go out of your way to maintain sanity, you can come over here and just horseback for this extra 10% EXP. So I'll let you guys factor in if the 7 to 8 minute travel for this 10% EXP buff is worth it. But yeah, also going off EXP rates, before we turn anything in, I just want to point out my trading is Master 1 and it is 10%. So I want to see how much this will actually give me at Master 1. At every single artisan level, even the high ones, 8, 9, and 10, I was able to level once every single hour and a half. Every hour and a half, I pretty much got it because I did 5 to 6 rotations of this travel. And I did do the villa buffs at the same time. So I'd say 1.5 hours average for every single level at artisan. Now we're gonna make it the whole travel back, and I'll meet you guys back in Haidle, and then we'll go to the farm. Alright, so we are back in Haidle. The third spot in the circle is Lynch Ranch. So we're going to go to Lynch Ranch together. Make sure you have all your equipment once again. Make sure you have all the buffs that you're going to pop for Life XP, because now is the time that we're going to do so, right when we arrive there. And also make sure you have at least 1 storage container. Now, if you only have enough contribution for 1 storage container, you're going to need to pick it up and bring it with you for both houses. But if you have enough contribution for 2, then you can actually leave 1 in each house and not have to pick it up over and over again. I started with 1, but yes, I did eventually upgrade to 2, so we're going to be looking at how that works once we arrive to our house. Now, I'm just following autopath. There's several ways to get here, but if you do follow autopath, it's pretty simple. You just go up this kind of crazy secret ridge here, but I mean, there's definitely ways to do this. Now, we're going to go up this and over here to the node manager. So here's all where the magic happens. Now, this is a good time to start popping your buffs, and this is the house that I have bought. So you can buy any residence. I believe this one's the closest. I mean, it's right there, so it makes sense. Now we're gonna go in here, and there is my container. You can place storage by placing furniture, and it'll be right here if it's in your inventory. This is what the container item looks like. Let's just put it in my inventory and show you how this works. So a storage container in your inventory, like I said, if you only have 1, you'll want to take it when you leave here, but for now I'm going to place this permanently, and you'll want to place it as close as possible to the door. So I'm going to put it right where that leaves off, place it, there you go. You can rotate it, do whatever, especially if you have 2 and you're placing it permanently, but as long as you can walk in and have it go to R automatically, you can pretty much roll directly out. Like, I can roll diagonally out of my house. So click R, and you're going to want to spam right click to fill your inventory, and we'll start rolling once again. Alright, so once you have spam clicked and your entire inventory is full, you definitely will still have to do 2 trips, but it's a lot closer. Just make sure you do it all in one go and you really spam click, because if you click out of this and you have trade items in your inventory, you can no longer access the storage. I thought that was kind of interesting, because that's why we don't have a storage in Haidle and Valia closer to the trade manager, because when you have trade items, you actually cannot access that. So it's kind of a one-way route. So once again, keep rolling, and this time we're going to go to the trade manager. But this is the point right here. Before you talk to him is where you want to pop every single buff. So we're going to pop food, we're going to pop tea, we're going to pop a pearl item somewhere. Let's click this. There we go. So that's maximum buffs. We have all the equipment. I would even pop out pets, but for now I'm not going to worry about it. And once again, we are at Master 1, 10% trading. So we're going to see how much percent we get through this. Every rotation is about 15 to 20 minutes, and every time you do this, you're also going to want to hop channels. So you can pretty much calculate this rate after we turn in all our EXP for how long it takes to do 1 circle. So we're going to do it. We're just going to push the button with all these buffs. Trade, sell all, Boom. And realize that this is only one of 4 times where our EXP will go up, because we still have the extra stuff in this bank, and we also have the other farm over there. So we just got 5% in that one turn in. Now we're gonna repeat the same exact process, click all this stuff, and we're also gonna go down to the next location. Alright, so this is the second load for this area. We're gonna trade it all in, and we're gonna see how much it is. We're at 19%, so just in that time we got 9%. That was just from 1. We still have the entire other storage. So now is the time, if you only have one of these, place and pick it up and bring it in your inventory. I cannot tell you the amount of times I forgot to do this. That's what ended up making me want to buy a second one. But yeah, now we're going to go to the next location, which is right over here, Toscani Farm. And do not do this route. You're basically just gonna want to fall off this mountain as simply as possible and try not to die. Pretty much like that. That's like the best I got. And then you just simply go straight towards it. Now I'm just gonna put this point in because I fucked up many times. If you only have one box and you forget to get it out of your house and you're going over there, instead of going all the way around, this is right where I fell down just now, and Toscani Farm is right over there. So just go over here until you hit a mountain, and I would keep going along this side until you get to not even over there. Just look for this one ridge right here. So you're just gonna want to follow the mountain until you do this, and you'll find a way up, and you'll still be at this area. If this looks at all familiar in game, you'll be able to get up here too. I'm just putting this in as like a shortcut back up the mountain, because you don't want to like go all the way around. It will just waste time. So just like that, we're back on the goat farm. And that way you don't have to go from the other side or through paths. I'm sure there's probably an even easier way, but this is how I go through it. So once again, we're going to fall down here and go to Toscani Farm for real this time. So starting from this camp, which we were pretty much just at, so this is like Ancient Stone Chamber. Oh shit, so that's actually where we were. You could use Ancient Stone Chamber as a reference. We're just going to go straight over here and go to Toscani Farm, and same kind of deal. So let's just park our horse and do this thing. Here's the node manager. So here we are at Toscani Farm once again. Now there's the node manager. I actually replaced my house because I didn't even have the closest house. Like I actually have been doing this. I've been doing this over here, but the closest house is honestly just right here. So you're gonna want to place once again the container right next to the doorway. Spam click this, blah blah blah, and we're gonna roll straight over to the node manager, literally right there for more experience. So this is the final trade. Even my elixir wore out because I've been so slow to do this, but every single run will take about 15 to 20 minutes, and once you do this trade and go back to Valia to repeat this whole process, that's when you change channel, because if you do it fast enough, most likely Haidle and Valia will not have their items restocked, so you're going to change channel every 15 to 20 minutes anyways. Knowing me, the amount of time it took to make this video, it'd probably be already stocked, but you guys get the point. This is my final inventory, and you guys also probably noticed that because I'm not carried really weighed down, that I can actually walk at a decent speed. So if you ever notice your speed is like pretty decent, you don't actually have to roll, but the majority of the time you will be. Definitely the first trade, and hopefully most of the trades, you'll have a shitload of stuff, and it will make you like really slow, but there are rare occasions like this where you sell a bunch of stuff the first time and you won't actually need to roll the second time. So we're going to trade it all in, see how much experience we get at Master 1 for the whole rolling experience. So first we had 10%, now we have 27%. So every 15 to 20 minutes, I can get 17% XP at Master 1. That's still insanely fast. That means within the next 2 hours, I will be Master 2. It's pretty awesome. So thank you guys for watching. I think that's it. I think we've covered everything I've learned over this past week on my rolling adventure, and it's about to come to an end. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'll keep going, get to Master 10 or something crazy, but I don't know how I can live without my storage space and without all those contribution points that I spent into this. So Master 2, I'm coming. I'm just gonna get it over with. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope this helped. I'll see you guys next time. I love you. Bye bye.
Trolling and trying to catch me riding dirty.